Hi, welcome to Manic Pixie Dream Boys Explains. With Shrek 5 coming out in less than 18 months, here is everything you need to know about the Shrek franchise. Part 1. For those who weren't born when Shrek came out, oh my god, there are adults who weren't born after Shrek came out. First, a bit of backstory. The story starts in 1990, where William Steig writes a book called Shrek, about a disgusting ogre who marries a princess after causing havoc to everyone he meets. Just a year later, Steven Spielberg bought the rights to the book and proceeded to make Jurassic Park. Jump to 1994, and Disney president Frank Wells tragically dies in a helicopter accident. After previously promising the role to Jeffrey Katzenberg, CEO of Disney, Michael Eisner hires Michael Ovitz instead, presumably because he liked his name. For this reason, an angry Katzenberg leaves the company to set up DreamWorks Animation Studios with David Geffen and Steven Spielberg to prevent him from making a terrible Indiana Jones movie. After churning out gem after gem after gem after gem, it was time to focus on their magnum opus, Shrek. Shrek had a turbulent production. The legendary Chris Farley, the original voice of the main character, unfortunately passed away, being replaced with the also legendary Mike Myers. And the terrifying fever dream that was Shrek's original character was replaced with the hunk that we know today. The animation team hated Shrek. Those that failed on Prince of Egypt, their other upcoming production, would be banished to the Gulag to work on 3D animation, which at the time was seen as inferior, a process known as being Shrek. The story of Shrek follows our favourite Chad, Shrek, chilling in his swamp, tormenting villagers, and generally having a great time, when he wakes up to discover a whole load of public domain fairy tale characters, RuneScape players, and a literal shoe house on his doorstep. Shrek goes all Karen on us, so with the help of his sat-nav, Eddie Murphy, he decides to speak to the manager. He arrives at the city of Duloc, ruled by a short and evil Lord Farquaad. Hang on, this guy looks familiar. Meanwhile, our friend Farquaad has been told by his iPad that in order for him to go from Lord to King, he must marry a princess, which doesn't make any sense if you think about it. But now he wants a princess. After causing numerous injuries to law enforcement, Shrek visits Farquaad and he agrees to take back the refugees if Shrek can bring him to a princess. Forgetting about the princess on his dinner table, Shrek agrees for some reason and goes to visit the castle of OSHA violations. While he grabs the princess, Donkey goes on first dates, and the three of them escape the castle. After several days of wacky hijinks that honestly could have been a montage, they arrive back at Duloc. Fiona decides first to sleep in a flower. Donkey, who has no concept of personal boundaries, creeps in and discovers that she is an ogre at night. A lucky coincidence considering the species of our protagonist. In classic cartoon fashion, Shrek mishears their conversation and thinks they don't see him for the Chad he so obviously is, and brings Farquaad to the mill. Shrek returns to an empty home, triumphant, and begins construction of his border wall. Whilst writing the bill to the Mexican government, Donkey arrives demanding his share of the swamp and explains to Shrek that he fell victim to one of the classic blunders. Shrek returns to Duloc, crashes the wedding, and lets Fiona know how Shrexy she is, whilst Donkey goes on a second date, opening up a whole can of Donkey Dragon related words. They stop the wedding, eat Farquaad, and Fiona turns into an ogre permanently. In a very out of character move, Shrek invites the refugees back for a dance party, and they all live happily ever after. So that's the end of part 1 of Shrek